Welcome, welcome, welcome. Another edition of the Bringing Our Loved Ones Task Force. So glad to have you guys back. It's funny, but we're all starting to become family. I think I pretty much know everyone's name here. There are a couple of new faces though, so we'll do the introductions very shortly. Just basically wanted to, again, thank you all for being here and for your support and participation in this important project. We're coming down to the wire now. It is September, believe it or not. Summer's over, so we have much more work to do, but we're definitely progressing in a positive direction. So again, thank you so much for your expertise and your support of this project. I'm Richard Franco. I'm the Program Manager with Adult Protective Services, Program Planning.
I'm Adrienne Navarro. I'm an Associate Professor over at Pacific University. I was brought on as the Academic Partner to the project.
Naomi Cabrera, LA County Sheriff's Department, Field Operations Support Services.
Roberto Vera, DPSS. Here on behalf of my director, Gonzalez, who is a second
I'm Molly Davies with Rise of Healthy Aging. Barbara McClellan, also mentioned
My wife is still listening.
Nancy Ward, and I'm a friend of the office.
Detective Sandler with Los Angeles Police Department, and I run my police forces.
Viviana Criado, with the Office of Municipal. Kate Mobius with Autism Interaction Solutions, and I train first responders on autism communication and de-escalation.
Denise Cardola, Department of Children and Family Services, Program Manager over all of our regional centers. And we have a lot of autistic children, nonverbal and verbal, with different degrees of needs.
Emily Island, I'm with the Experience Autism Program. We're training first responders, and the Be Safe program, which trains youth in our safety with the police, within youth code of conduct.
Bruce Wilson, if I need help, we make wearable ID and caregiver control special needs registry.
Hi, I'm Anat Lewis with the Los Angeles Department of Aging.
Anna Abdullah with Workforce Development, Aging and Community Services. We'll be kind of incorporating everything that you bring to the table, things that we've heard. Do you have any last?
Just a quick reminder that this is the Brown Act. This meeting does meet the Brown Act requirements, so it's open to the public, and we'll have a few minutes at the end of the presentation to give any questions.
So we're going to be tag team today a bit because we both have been gathering different information, and there's been a number of conferences and things going on, pretty exciting right now. So basically, the last 60 days we've been sort of gathering information. We have a survey going on right now with law enforcement. I understand that there's 46 police chiefs across our county, and so I think we have about 14 responses so far. So we're collecting that. I'm going to put a reminder to see if we can get a few more. We've had, of course, one-to-one meetings with talking with LAPD, LA Sheriff, and so we sort of have those big contenders there in the mix as far as our legal organization.
Sorry, I'm having trouble with the connection. Please try again in a
So
moment.
my goal today, it's funny, when you run a meeting like this, you feel a little bit uneasy when you don't have a lot of structure. But I sort of see us, what we've done so far is we've divided into 4 work groups. If you look at the motion that's on our agenda, we're keeping this visual here for you, what our task is at hand. We've kind of drilled down in these 4 areas, and today what I'd like to do is kind of go back, see if we can consolidate that a little bit with things that we really want to pursue. Maybe there's some missing information that we need to gather. I kind of see this next 30 days as an opportunity to gather remaining information as we start to draft our recommendations. They go back to the Board of Supervisors at the beginning of December. So when you think about a big report like that, we obviously want to do a good job, and we want you all to have a chance to weigh in on it and to kind of build some buy-in, basically, because it's really this integration of all of your agencies and input. So does that make sense? Any questions sort of on what we'll be doing is that very kind of routinely going through each of the 4 areas. And in your packet, you have the summary of the discussions that took place. And I would probably, point you directly to where we got to possible next steps. That would be sort of, obviously read it all, but possible next steps under each of the 4 areas will sort of be where we work from. And so I plan to leave today with a to-do list. And so that's why we have the flip chart today, is sort of thinking about where are we at, what do we need to do moving forward to work towards that reform. Other thoughts? Okay. So I have, from time to time thought about these 4 entities. If we think about areas to coordinate our efforts, technology, training, community outreach, it really sets us out into different paths. There's a lot of ground to cover. This is a very vast motion when you think about it, but we're really looking to come up with something that the county can get behind, a voluntary county-wide program that can keep track of older adults, or just adults, I should say, and children, to expedite their return. So just want to make sure we're all on the same page, and then we'll go ahead and move forward. Any questions? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about coordination. This was a large work group. There was a lot of good input and engagement. Rich was there to help gather some of the notes and collaborate with them. So as we go to coordination, I have a few notes, but so let me just kind of add some kind of themes that I wanted to ask you about. I think when you read through these, then these are page 2 of 5, right? C. Basically, I think that coordination efforts around sort of policies, best practices, and protocols was a key piece that we talked about. Early on, we talked about, for example, there's a checklist that LAPD and LA sheriffs have shared with us, and we've asked for that in the law enforcement survey from all the other entities. So that may be one of the areas that we can recommend, sort of here's best practices for law enforcement's response to missing persons. What are your thoughts about that?
So, speaking as law enforcement, that particular checklist or criteria, that is derived from the California Penal Code as in order to make an assessment as to whether or not an individual will be assessed at risk or critical missing. So it should be something that's in place. However, if they have their own format, if you will, that they actually provide their officers in the event that they are contacted by someone who's looking to report someone missing. Of course, to ensure that, of course, that certainly would be a great idea, but it is something that we have to follow in law enforcement in making that assessment. Because, of course, if it is assessed in a serious case, such as the case with all juveniles, all juveniles are considered at risk of missing. So that's an easy one to make an assessment on. But when it comes to the adults, that criteria really has to be discussed in order to identify that situation.
At-risk critical missing, I think that kind of was good for me to learn early on, that that's really what we're talking about. Probably language that could go into motion, right? I think it's really that who rises to that level of at-risk critical missing.
I think saying that we want a consistent, coordinated response to critical missing across the lifespan. That's kind of where we're going.
Exactly.
Consistent, coordinated response to critical missing across the lifespan of all ages.
So we kind of know the goal. We've had this, this is an amazing team here with this task force. We actually can dive in now and see what is it that keeps us from having that, or do we have it already? I think there's been some good examples, and I think you've provided those to us as far as adults that they don't look disabled, right? They have autism or another issue that makes them vulnerable. And so it's hard for law enforcement to pick up on that. And so, yeah. How do we bridge that? I
We
mean,
have some criteria that they're automatically considered critical very early, right? I mean, so
And those are the standardized questions. Number one, is there a history of mental illness? There are specific conditions that automatically rank at risk of disease, Alzheimer's, dementia. And then it delves into it a little deeper as to, first of course, age. At a certain age, the elderly, of course, will be assessed as at risk of missing. And any medical condition certainly requiring medication where you perceive it that could potentially cause a serious medical reaction.
and these are in the DOJ guidelines, right? So we have them, yeah.
Yeah, so I know the group is primarily focused on autism and Alzheimer's, but since you're going to be, and if you need a connection with the regional center, let me know. I can get you hooked up. But, there's also the kids who have, I would like to see you guys expand that to say any child with a developmental disability. So we're talking kids with intellectual disabilities, some of them who are coming in had IQs of under 65 and stuff like that. They might.
I think that's, crystallized in law. I know that the board of supervisors, specifically Supervisor Hahn's office, has been willing to look at policy changes. So it sounds to me like when you say that we're talking about asking if we could propose some kind of a policy change where that's written differently. Is that correct? Because it's, I think, more than just an interpretation of what it is.
So, just to be clear, when it comes to all, and it's actually going to be, will automatically develop that same response to adverse conditions. So certainly, now what we do come across with adults that suffer or suffer with autism or a intellectual disability, or perhaps we are often advised a mental age that's far less than what the chronological age. Depending on that status, and that's information that needs to get out.
Yes.
Because once the officer receives that information, then they know, and we know, yes, absolutely, that has to be assessed as a critical illness.
And so they don't have to break it down. They could say, is this a client, just like you're kind of doing mental health, is this a client receiving mental health, or do they have a mental illness? You could even say, are they developmentally disabled or a client of regional center? So that would be a clue that, because not all law enforcement, but trust me, it took me a while to learn all the developmental disabilities, but not everyone's clear on that, but that could be added to, is this a client of regional center, is this a client of Department of Health? That'll give your officers a clue.
The majority of officers understand conservatorship.
Unfortunately, they do not. So what happens with our department, when we receive information that an individual is conserved, we actually go back into the specific database that all law enforcement agencies have access to actually place terminology within that this individual is conserved, and there is a transport back to or contacted a specific person. So unfortunately, our line officers are involved in that.
That happened in our community where a woman went missing and she was a conserved adult, and the parents said, we have the right to fix a boat. And they said, well, go ahead and repair her apartment if you want to. But that's not what it meant, and they wouldn't respond, and I resisted responding, and she ended up in very, very bad shape. Because by the time they had the argument, the resistance, she was out of state already.
So when we talk about training, this might be something to make sure it's included in training. There is mandated training now. I'm going to please forgive me, but at times I'll just kind of move this along because we've got quite a bit to cover. And that, yes.
We're pretty clear that the law itself is not going to be changed. It's more of the protocols of the different law enforcement agencies, or do we need to look into possibly changing the law? or revising the law to add additional. Is that?
Well, it seems we're sort of fine for 21 and under, right? And where it gets murky and far riskier for our populations than for their adults. Ironically, for those in service.
Right. So the two things that will be immediately jumped out at me, and certainly we'll discuss it with my own department, further training into perspective consideration, especially included within our own training blocks of mental illness, so that our officers understand that more times than not, number one, they need to be asking that question. And number two, identifying or receiving that information, that automatically, yes, needs to be indicated as such. And then further developing the various, I want to call them categories, if you will, but currently we're limited with respect to Alzheimer's, dementia, and then unfortunately everything else just gets grouped into the same category.
Which is like,
Yeah, and they're totally different.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did want to just underscore that, if you're talking about training for conservatorship, the other question of in their regional center client, I think it could be 40 into the regional center client, it would really help you with a lot. I have to be
But is it California statute, or did you say DOJ up there? So
California.
So it is California.
California.
Okay.
which doesn't make sense. Is that part of the federal guidelines as well, or?
A little different. I can't specifically speak for the national side, but the two are connected in that they do receive the same information. California has always been one of its requirements, especially our own organization. But yes, it is.
So when we think about protocols then for sort of first responders, are there other areas we need to sharpen up, things we could work on as far as suggestions?
Well, I want to go back to the silver alert, because it's already in place. It's like an Amber Alert, but it's for critical missing. It originally was only for people with Alzheimer's, and they expanded it for people with developmental disabilities. But they have very specific criteria for being considered a critical missing, especially if you're an adult with a developmental disability. So I wonder if we could, well, my idea is to have a registry attached to the silver alert that families voluntarily provide information should that person ever go missing. They're already considered eligible, rather than having that argument of whether they're eligible or not during the crisis and having to prove it. To get all your ducks in a row, submit the paperwork, have it signed by a doctor, whatever they need, so that if that person goes missing, it is critical missing at the silver alert level. Now, I know the problem with the silver alert is that they have to exhaust all local resources before the state gets involved. But what if being pre-registered for the silver alert meant that their information was immediately available to us?
So could you connect the silver alert with medical alert, which has this deep program now? They're saying that at no cost, they would provide access to their system to law enforcement. So someone could go in, who had a family member, and provide all of that information. So it would be in your system, and couldn't that, because I'm thinking like who holds the information. So couldn't those then talk to one another?
Well, our system, we have back-end access for police departments, so we could have, and it's very similar to medical work, but different. The different departments could have their own stuff, and people could sign up, as caregivers, so that, because a lot of people aren't going to want to be in the system. And so they could, by their geographic location, they can either just control themselves, or they can opt in to local law enforcement, or we could put a thing where they opt in to silver alert. So the permanent information, if they want to do that, gets sent, to law enforcement, appropriate law enforcement.
Yeah, I think database is that thing here, and I think, the idea of being able to leverage things like the existing databases that are being used, like ReadyNet and the missing persons database, which I guess is under clips. Yeah. And just kind of making sure we sort of look at all of these. In talking to the sheriffs today, they were saying that, for example, the blue check, when you check the fingerprints, these devices, a zillion are out, I guess, in law enforcement vehicles. So you think, wow, here's an opportunity, but that needs to search in a different database, not a criminal database. So because that would be unreasonably searching, I guess people's rights would be taken away. So there's a real slippery slope there, and so they really feel that there needs to be a separate database. So I feel like this whole database issue, and I'd like to be inclusive, which you've been really helpful in informing things here. And then I know Medic Alert is like a state institution, I've been, for my course as a social worker, been referring people there. So it's sort of like, it would be really interesting to see where can we leverage what exists. I know you have a database in Santa Clarita, and you've learned how important it is to keep it up.
That's our
problem. Yeah.
And so that's why I think we can be higher up, like as high as you can go, because you just said we have 46 different entities just in our county. Well, what if you're in the Glendale database, but, it's just so confusing. It's going to be one-stop shopping for where everybody's going to go first.
Yeah. And then you need resources to keep it up, right? And your department too, that'd be more city, and your department, anyway. So that was on my list as well, sort of, who would take the leadership. But I think you've got a good point about the focus on the database that could be a part of the solution.
So I have to agree. Preloading all of that identifying information, that contact information, prior locations, that would be extremely helpful. I'll give you an example. This past holiday weekend, we had 4 of our known repeat cases go missing. They were all at-risk critical cases because they suffered from Alzheimer's or dementia. And in that initial contact, it may be with an officer that's unfamiliar with that individual. Having a system in place that would automatically link that would be extremely helpful to our line officers.
Which parts would it be?
The preloaded information with respect to mainly contact, photo, absolutely. Photo, locations, contact information is always important.
Information for de-escalating. They like that.
That's huge right now, because de-escalation and mental illness are directly tied, because in most cases are not. That's exactly those situations that we as officers need to de-escalate. So that is an evolving training that will certainly, law enforcement certainly have a part of it.
Can I ask a quick question? I think I've asked this before, but pardon me. So if your officers run into someone on the street, when they go back to their patrol car, what can they access?
Unfortunately, it's somewhat limited. Some units do go out with a blue check system. However, our department does have policy in place, depending on the situation, where we can and cannot use that system. But if it's someone who is not able, certainly not communicating, not verbalizing, no identification, and that individual is either brought back to the station or brought to the hospital.
So there isn't anything that currently exists where they could get back to my patrol car and they could take and up would come the list of people who are currently being reported, and if, let's say we had the system where it was preloaded in and they'd see all the photos and they'd go, oh, this is that person, that's not instantaneously available.
Yes and no.
Okay.
It depends on how much information they can identify, derived from the individual or what they might have on them. And the system that they'll be checking is that missing person's database. However, that's before currently it's just text, plain text.
I was talking to change that.
Yeah.
What did you say? I didn't hear that.
No photo. There's no photo in the missing person's database.
That they can access from the patrol car.
Just period, right?
In the system we put in place in Santa Clarita, we have a photo index, and you can type in woman age 60, and up comes a picture of all the women from age 60 to 70. We designed the system, and you click on the person picture, and it's like, oh, it's Sarah, and then up comes all her information, her caregiver, it's all there. So we know what needs to be in the database. The problem is having people keep it up to date.
Fíjate,
So do the cars have internet access? Are they able? That's what-
It's not,
So you chose the web-based.
it's more of a specific terminal.
Can you turn them on to hotspots? All those little cars?
I'm afraid I
I think I might have just one. It's like-
Cool, but Essex County Sheriff's.
But it will all be
Yeah.
great.
I was gonna say, yeah.
If our officers had that accessibility out in the field to pull up the photo information, that would be.
Do they
Well,
carry cell?
that's my
Well,
next question. Do they have some?
More times than not, our officers are utilizing their own.
So let me hear from the sheriff's department.
And so the sheriff's department, all the patrol cars that are out active patrol do have enabled digital computers in the seats, which do have internet access. We have access to our own sheriff's intranet and the regular internet. However, we have the same problem. We do have access to running information. We have identifiable information of the person we have to put into missing persons, but we don't have photos that show up. We've got blue checks. However, we are not allowed per policy to use our own cell phones because of rights of discovery of anything personal that might be in that cell phone. The sheriff's currently not equipped. There's the deputies with their own cell phones, only the sergeants, the supervisors, both supervisors will have a department cell phone.
It's crazy, our social workers all have cell phones. I mean, and they can pull up anything right there on the spot, out in the field. I'm Warren County, but it's
That was
sad.
a
That's where our
discovery
GPS
issue that if you were to take pictures of a crime scene or anything like that on your phone,
No,
anything
they're not,
like that on your personal phone, it would make everything discoverable on your
no, the
phone.
county's issued
Yeah.
social workers with cell phones. So social workers don't use their own. I would never use my own personal, but I have a county cell phone. God knows we like to turn it on.
So
Law
I do too,
enforcement
but
has
it would
those,
require
yeah.
funding for all of the.
Right.
Well, maybe
Right.
that's, they can ask for
Okay.
It seems just very good because I know you just gone, but it seems like one of the other issues here that's a larger issue is, with LAPD, with the sheriffs. Glendale PD, what if the child is from LA, takes off to Pasadena, then what's their system when they go back to their cars? So if we could somehow, as Emily said, bring this to the highest level, which is the largest umbrella, how can we have the most, the biggest umbrella with the database and the information available to all of the Region 6?
It sounds like it's going to
All
have to be a
in one.
central database, right?
All in one.
That's internet accessible, web-based, right? So anyone can access it.
And of course, then we want to use policy, right, and equipment. So how can we navigate this? It must be a way somehow we can navigate this.
And medical alert comes up because it is national.
Right.
And they've come to us and they said, we're willing to work with your county and do things to help you, carve out. And then, so you would put our people in and then it would be accessible, if they wanted at an airport in another state. So,
Ours does on as well, because like all those things in our internet. I mean,
so the database is kind of the way that, people know where to call, it's clear, it doesn't matter where they are. So I think that's sort of our big widespread across boundaries. When you get into radio frequency, which we learned about Project Lifesavers from within the technology, we learned that there were a lot of limits as far as boundaries and that.
So looking at this document where you have description summary, on the back, you have possible next steps for enhanced coordination.
So that's, is it for this particular section or?
Yeah,
Page 4 of 5, page 4.
right. I thought that you were trying to narrow down the steps that we're gonna take to lead us to the drafting of recommendations. I'm wondering if going over this would help us kind of calm down what we're trying to do here. Because I feel that we're going over things that we have discussed in the past and we need to move forward.
Right, when you move forward, I just have, I gleaned from that sort of the key themes. And what's troubling is when you have a work group with some of the key people that were in the other work group, they haven't been able to weigh in. So I do see this as an opportunity today to be sure everybody gets a voice and everybody can educate us about what's happening. So I'm okay with a little repetition, but I also the meeting will be over soon. So, we do have to move on. So, I think that, as you think about this, for coordination, I'm thinking, protocols, looking at best practices. We've been focusing on law enforcement, but I feel like there's other protocols. We've got health services here, long-term care services here, mental health services, just thinking about the bigger picture. Are there any other sort of protocols or coordination
I
that
have
you
one-
think is missing?
I have one last thing before we just jump off from that, is that everybody's gonna have different budgets, because we're a vendor within the movement center, and there's, how many different law enforcements are out there. And some of them have like a big budget to fully do the database, everything we're talking about, and others have no budget at all. So the database solution should be all the way from free to, to full-on API access.
And I think the county, we're hoping for a countywide sort of thing that, would help all the folks that don't feel like they have a budget for this, but let's put it down because I think it's a critical piece of fiscal support. And maybe levels. If it was something where individual entities have to pay, like organizations, and maybe having some tiered support, like you said, so that we can get people involved in it.
The first option should be free. There should be a free system, which ours is, maybe medical is, I don't know. And then if people want to access it, like it's there so that they turn on their computer and our database shows up on their department computer, then there's a cost for them to use their development. But there's still no monthly.
The whole database issue is bigger than this group today. So
Yeah.
I think let's table that because we need some experts to meet. We'll probably do a phone conference or something. So thank you, because I will come to you for more information on that. So I'm just wanting to include a couple of other areas where we need to coordinate. I'm looking at legal, health, long-term care, anything in your realms that you think when it comes to coordinating, if only we could connect here, or here's the missing piece. Is there anything you want us to include?
How about on the education part, for back to conservatorship, that a lot of parents don't know about it. And a lot of parents that are really active and always getting therapy for their kids and fighting in schools and all that kind of stuff, most of them don't even get conserved.
So hold that up, because that's going to do a whole thing on training. So we got training and we got community outreach. So those are to me, fit into those buckets a little better. But I want to finish out the coordination piece. So this is more for county level people that we have here. You know what's working and what doesn't work. And I'm just thinking, is there anything else that you think we could recommend to the board to help us do a better job?
I'm thinking as far as, I think they touched on it earlier about the criteria for the critical, because it's just so narrow right now. There's only that certain criteria if a missing person falls into that. I think automatically under 12, they're critical regardless of any kind of health issues. They're just not able to take care of themselves according to the policies. But anybody other than that, if they don't meet that criteria, but they still need that help, there needs to be some sort of revision of procedures in the amendment of policy, so that way we can figure that out, that they can be trained, especially at the station level when the calls come in, and the people are reporting to first responders that they know that they ask these questions. So that's probably going to overlap with training as well.
Yeah.
As far as what to ask, as far as reading the policy, so that these people that they want to fit in there actually get that attention and have all the services activated that normally would with somebody with autism or Alzheimer's. That would be done.
So that's about coordinating the same criteria used at the state level for the silver alert and the departments. It has to be the same.
If that's what you're asking, yeah, there's got to be continuity, so
Yeah.
that way if somebody that's missing, maybe in the county area is not going to get different treatment than somebody missing in Glendale because they have a different policy. It's got to be.
And I think it really is a problem now. It's a problem.
And it seems so fixable, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it's, so many people are out there, they
this area.
Yeah,
Same
yeah.
situation.
Anything from this side that I'm missing?
I think along with that, in terms of the communication piece, all county departments have like public information offices or officers. If this communication could get to each county department and then in turn be sent out, I think you would put a lot of eyes in terms of having eyes in the community looking out for these individuals. I think that would be another safety net.
I put leverage, is that okay? Leverage county public information officers in this whole coordinated effort?
Right.
Okay.
Because that gives you countywide throughout, all the different cities. That would give you countywide visibility.
Cover the communication right now.
I think that was one of the biggest takeaways from the creation of the task force was the idea that it would be a central agency or organization to coordinate amongst the different departments, specifically on the areas of outreach and getting that media exposure out there. So that's something you maybe want to flesh out a little bit more?
Yes, yes. I had down.
Realistically, do we think that, is it really realistic to think that there would be one agency that would be put together just for this specific task? That is kind of far-reaching. I know that this supervisor did mention and we want to think outside the box and this and that, but it is a possibility, right? But let's think about our options that would kind of still work toward that goal, but I'm thinking that maybe at least having each department have their own specific unit that handles, like LAPD has their missing persons unit, DCFS, APS should have their identified individuals to handle these matters.
Right, and like there's a thread between all of them. There's that magic button where everyone communicates.
Yeah.
I think that's where the idea too of whose idea was that?
Talk to
Having
everyone.
being that centralized communication with the public and call in, even the departments themselves. The PIOs from different departments help someone get all the information.
That's the key, is what is that protocol? Because I agree, we do have to leverage all the agency services, we all have a component, but there has to be a protocol that we don't cross, ground basin, all client-centered, and we talked about conservatorship, so there's some lines we have to be careful not to cross, law enforcement has their own rules and regulations that, it's within the system and then across system. So I think that's something for us to discuss at another time, but that could work. We all have to have a thing, I expect. Up to you, like it's to him, right?
Would that come under the MDT? Would that come under the Welfare Institutions Code related to MDT familiar events? If it's for
Other reasons.
elder abuse and neglect.
For that thing, but I'm not sure for the other agencies.
Like the same. My mother, it's okay, it's okay.
So when we get reports, sometimes from the ombudsman program facility settings, we ask law enforcement to let us know if they get reports of critical missing clients at certain locations that are facilities that should have staffing to provide for the care and supervision of those individuals so that we can, put pressure on the facility to do their job and prevent having lots of people missing.
What's first that? You're just getting anecdotal information and then you get some data.
Well, sometimes we have, sometimes it's just through the training that we do with law enforcement, or we get law enforcement making referrals to us because we're going to this location all the time for this one issue and we're sending helicopters and boats. And we're spending a lot of time at a place that has, more staff than we can do. So, and it's already being paid for by the public, and so it seems sort of like low-hanging fruit in terms of reducing those folks from becoming missing in both nursing home, assisted living, or long care facilities, whether they're or cares for adults or older adults. And then also, I think, ensuring that, and I don't know where this fits in, who will also where these might fit in, but also doing some outreach to facilities once this is maybe in the training piece, because sometimes they may get people who are living with them who maybe unknown, maybe John or Jane knows, and so then what do they do with that information? Sometimes the hospitals will pay for them to stay at a facility for a short period of time, and then it'll be like, okay, now we're gonna kick them out because, so there's opportunity to not lose people again.
And that really would take sort of the agency portion of that, and that's something consistently that Ombudsman does, or?
So we get more involved in, so we view it when the folks are missing out of those facilities as the facility neglecting compliance. So we view that as a mandatory outdoor use report. And then what we want to do is we want to get those reports to the Department of Public Health's licensing and certification section, where then they can put pressure on the facility if our pressure is not enough. To see like what's the root of the problem. Are you taking people who you can't retain? Is your staffing too low? What's going on? Is there a wander guard system that's not working? Need a wander guard system?
Just to reinforce your point, one of those four walked away from the hospital and was assisted by hospital staff.
Right. And we've had that too. We've had people who are conserved, had dementia, and the facility's like, you're paying, go. And just turned them out. On for 3 days, hospitalized, injuries, just shouldn't happen.
I'm wondering if it would be really helpful to know what are the protocols within each agency? Somehow we could have a spreadsheet, or do a quick survey, not for today, but in the interim, what it would be, I think it's really informative to know what the protocols are, what does each agency actually do in a missing person's case? Because there are so many, there's such a scattering of this, and I think it would be really helpful for the group to know it's the difference between what the sheriff's department does and what LAPD does. What do all these valuable agencies do?
Well, law enforcement would ask the question in the survey, and
Right.
we had a response.
Okay. Maybe we see what these other agencies.
Hospitals were asking right now, yesterday we started to request that through the hospital association. So that's sort of beginning, when they show back to your emergency department, what do you do? And one included, I think Joanne's going to help us, we want to know the four hospitals for people. So, and then we'll have access to the other hospitals association. So I think we're working on speech, just those two. We won't get everybody, but if we can begin to get sort of what's the basics. And then I think there's some best practices, and we can't tell people what to do. But if we can say, we take the California DOJ and we actually enhance by be sure to check this, other things to consider to kind of build it up a little bit, or hospitals that do a really good job as well.
I'd like to see that as well, in the various departments that are represented here, because what I give out to my investigators, especially those that are brand new at investigating missing persons cases, are a resource guide. And they can literally go down that list and check each of those entities, given the scenario provided to us. And if I can get even more resources to hand out to my investigators, I will absolutely do so.
Right.
Put a survey out right at the beginning of this task force, wasn't there?
Yeah,
a survey to all the
that's what we're
participants?
talking about right now. What Kate's mentioning right now is exactly what the intent of the original survey was. And, I think what we need to do is not only release the responses that we received, but also we need to go back to the departments that did not respond, provide us with the responses. All those questions were asked. You know, what exactly are your protocols?
That's what I was saying, I mean, I feel like you introduced us, we need someone to come push on those, especially the law enforcement. I know we have relationships with different law enforcement agencies around the county. So we'd be happy to make a call and say, hi, we know you got this survey, we really like it if you fill it out.
And it's probably in somebody's inbox, you know, that's, if you're on vacation, or you just never know.
We'd be happy to help where we can,
that's
to
okay.
juice some answers.
It helps for families as well to know actually what the agencies do and how they can do it.
Talked about some materials that go out to families, as part of community outreach. So let me just kind of move this along a little bit so people feel that there is some structure and they're not feeling like some people are going up. One more comment?
Yeah, I just have one tidbit of information. I believe our full manual of policy and procedures is online for the public to see. You can look it up at lasd.org. And you can see what our critical phases and things are. If anyone's curious or what the criteria is, it's all there.
We're very transparent, yeah. Actually, I've been really lazy. Transparent. We're just missing some. And I think especially, you know, some of the other, probably smaller groups, you know, municipalities that just don't have a lot of resources, you know, it's great if they get word from us and there. So coordination, sort of best practices protocol, thinking about a database ideally with access to photos and fingerprints, leverage existing databases, think about community guidelines for responding to the situations, what's the role for 211, look at hospital best practices when they have a Jane John Doe at the door, think about what the VA agency should be as far as tracking and maintaining these cases and sort of keeping this. I think this is going to be an initiative that needs constant, you know, review. So we have a number of areas here as well to add. So we'll kind of take this list and all in what we've gotten from you today to kind of crystallize, consolidate coordination. I want to move on to technology.
So, but before you go,
Yes.
what are you planning to do with this possible next step?
The draft
For
report.
enhancement? Do you think you have enough information about this?
I was just going to mention that I think for sure we're going to go back, review all of this, and probably have more interviews with the specific departments to get more detail, specifically on the area of readiness and working with the hospitals. I think that's going to have those separate discussions.
Yeah. I'm concerned about whether or not the existing protocols meet our criteria for what we would. I know legislation is out there. I believe that can be amended. I'm not quite certain that the existing law enforcement protocols meet what we would like to see. So I didn't hear how we're gonna go about assessing those. Maybe we feel that this is not for this place to discuss.
I think that's I think we've all sort of bought into that with what I'm hearing today, that I think everybody feels that that's something we can do. And I do feel that we have at least several key players, you know, as far as having those protocols that include staff sheriffs, I think that's the specific ones from Claremont, a couple other organizations. So now we need to kind of digest that.
Right.
And see how it meshes with the SOLA work.
Include the SOLA, you know, your point about understanding the criteria for SOLA work.
Before we call any one of this a best practice, I think we need to make sure that past perspective.
Wouldn't it be a great takeaway from this they have? So I think let's see what we can gather, and we'll look at them together. And so, you know, a lot of this work can't happen in a meeting like this. So we'll come back, show you what we have, what we collected, kind of look at how they overlay. So this is more specifics for you as for how that would look. You know, I would think that we could tell you what's mandated. And here, based on these other entities, what's been added, that we think, you know, these ones make sense.
And what
Here's
is
the stage.
changing?
the sort of the ideal. And if you included, wow, we learned something from this group and so here's like a wonderful master of what would be a best practice based on what we learned from the entities that are willing to participate. And if that's it, so much sense. Yeah. So hold me, task my feet to that.
I will
Yeah,
get you.
I know you will. But I do, give me a little bit of room for, it's a bit of, this is a massive thing. And we're trying to collect data at different points. So I think we're making some progress. So I'm pleased, but I think now probably October, we have 2 meetings planned in October, we hope, where we can actually begin to say, here's what we've got, and, what do you think? You're seeing some more detail.
I'm just going to add that sometimes the National Department of Justice releases best practices, and they might already have one. Maybe you want to check that. If they just released one for best practices for dealing with people with developmental disabilities and mental illness, that came out in January this year. So it would be cool to see if they have one on person missing.
Okay. And if anybody finds that, let me know. Send it to me. That'd be great. Okay, so I'm going to move on to technology. I think we're on track, but this is a little bit fast. Okay, so don't look at that one. So technology, we'll talk about that group a little bit. And so you want to look at your notes. The first page. Actually, in the notes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Bottom of the first.
Bottom.
Bottom of the first page, you start to look at technologies to consider, and then you turn it over to page 2, and some of the different things, possible next steps. So, I think those of you that were part of the technology work group, we began to look at how we needed kind of a different layers. A layered approach was really needed. And I think we heard that early on from Lieutenant Gannon. It's considered continue to kind of follow our work. We haven't been able to make it to the meetings. But he has been able to, which is great. This idea that, what would be the best technology to recommend. So I think when we looked at this, we thought there's really different types. There's alert systems that are out there. There's database, linking to people that are missing, and then there's tracking systems. And that we've been really concerned about making sure that they're not, at least all of them, boundary specific, where we would be missing folks that were lost outside of a certain boundary. So those are some of the key takeaways that I had. We've had a number of folks here at the table giving information about existing kinds of technology that's used in the county. Sentinel is a vendor that does GPS for the LA sheriffs. Sending out house arrest, Sentinel thing that goes under ankle. And so they have a whole infrastructure of a team that can go to the home and meet with a person, educate them, get the device going, all of that. So they've been kind of interested because there's already been a long history of a contract with the LA County of trying to see if they could make this change to do this kind of work. So they would probably need to have a much smaller little device and a lot of differences for this population that we're talking about. So they're kind of out there, and then the database issue. Of course, we've wrestled with what would that look like, and making sure that it would have your photos and have fingerprints. It could be something. I like Bruce was saying how ideally it'd be great if it's something that people can use without even accessing law enforcement. The idea that it's easy to find people and that citizens could do some of the work on their own.
I might need to object to that.
Okay, yes.
It is an instance where serious law enforcement should absolutely.
Well, that wasn't what she was saying. She was just saying, if I see Mark over there and say, oh, see the guy who's missing? And look on my phone. Okay, now I call 911, who's the guy?
Exactly. I just want to make
That's what
sure.
she, I think that's what she was
You
saying.
just have to have limited information. You have every bit of information. You might not want some address.
And I also sent, our information, which is like other, like Netflix, to the lieutenant, and he said that, as part of a full solution, it's good.
Yeah, and Lieutenant Gannon had told me about nextdoor.com, and so I joined that. And one of my neighbors went missing. He has dementia. It took all of us about a day and a half, but we found him. To the hospital. He's in a nursing home now, recuperating. But I thought, wow,
Next door is pretty.
Yeah, it's really good.
it's free. It's something you have to sort of. I always kind of didn't want to get into another like Facebook thing, But boy, powerful for this kind of stuff. When your dog or your bird or something was missing, everybody's eyes can be looking out their windows to kind of see if anybody's there. So anyway, so there's some free sort of things. I understand Nexel. A lot of these things I don't pronounce right. So Nixel is another kind of device that you sign up for. Is it only law enforcement that can be a part of it?
No, matter of fact, it's something where our department's website has a general sign up, but each of our 21 geographic stations, you can also sign up with that specific station. So if you live within that area, you can get community alerts sent as text messages to you.
So I know one of our members of the leadership team had said, I'm part of a Palm Springs group, and I hear constantly, oh my God, here's the man, he's missing, this is what he looks like, here's his age, and I think it's in.
How do you spell Nexel?
N-I-X-E-L.
It just seems like there's all these wonderful systems and, if I was, and I'm thinking of my 2,000 kids I'm responsible for, I'm thinking, okay, which one do I go to? Which is gonna get the most? And I guess that's where we just keep coming back. It's like, there needs to just be this one, and I get it, that good hearts create different systems and this and that, but as a parent, how do you know which one to go to? Or as an adult caring for another adult, how do you know which one is going to get you the best? It just doesn't, it just seems, I'm sitting here, my head's spinning. I'm like,
It's
well, or that one, or that one, or that one.
Part of our task was to learn about all these.
Honestly, I just underwent some training myself, and it was open source training. And one of the most powerful tools that everyone has access to is an internet browser search. Google, more times than not, if you type in missing persons with a specific name, you get just a wide array of information. And that would certainly be the easiest, is to type in their missing persons in Los Angeles, or given that specific area. Very powerful, as I've come to learn. And it's not just Google. There are 26 other tools.
There's so many.
So a thought comes to mind, there's so many wonderful programs. My suggestion is maybe a little too complicated, but keep all the programs. There's like a database that a family could sign up for and say, I choose all. So it's an automatic all for all the versions of all these programs. And they would have to intentionally select to opt out if they're that something. So I would think that all these businesses would be open to sharing that link because it would promote all of theirs, but it would give law enforcement access to all. So the key is, right, we said there's the training on, our end, but then it's also education on the family and the community's end. You don't get anything in there unless you put something in there. So as long as families are putting in, and they could choose to put in, could choose maybe 4 or 5, or I don't know if it's probably all. But that, let's say your program, medical alert, civil alert, that they're automatically populated in those systems. The key what I'm hearing is not all of them have pictures, which would be helpful for law enforcement.
And they all work off different platforms.
Yeah, and they all have different people running them, and
It wouldn't be automatic, it would be, that'd be great, but.
No, I know it's not automatic, and that's what I said, you can almost sort of like have, like if there were central person or agency here in the county that took, you want to register this person, then they would populate on different databases that were appropriate to use. So I put integration, I mean, some kind of integration, because I appreciate Denise what you said, you know, I think it is mind-boggling, just a lot, and they come with different costs and different sophistication and use and all.
and if you choose wrong, you spend $1 million on GPS, and then people don't wear it, you just spend $1 million in short time.
Yes, you know, it seems that we're moving more into kind of figuring out how to make a decision. They creatively. One of the things that come to mind is that perhaps we need some of those technology companies that have the expertise, that can sit together, gather ideas, and figure out how we can develop a product. And might be willing to become a partner, and might cost a lot of money. So that came when you mentioned Google, and somebody mentioned Facebook. We have platforms that we can integrate whatever ideas we have. What is the possibility of reaching out to engage them? We have done quite a bit of that in mental health in the past when we were developing workforce of our consumers, you know, for kids, for them, you have partners in businesses rather than having to pay for everything. You know, so it's about.
We spent quite a bit of time, you know, having the different speakers from different groups come, and I think, you know, I think what I was kind of picking up was that nothing is like the be-all, end-all in and of itself, right? They all have strengths, and they're all excellent in a lot of ways. So that I think is the tricky part.
We don't want to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
Yeah.
And do all the work that somebody else thought, I have the solution. But I wanted to ask, have you looked at the Center for Missing and Exploited Children? Because that's the national database for all missing and exploited children. So are we making the best use of that?
Right. And that's where I kind of thought maybe the protocol would be able to add in some things that maybe we don't always think about. You know, whether it's law enforcement or home care or, you know, wherever we're at, there might be some ways of inserting a few ideas that are out there that maybe get overlooked.
I know in our group we talked about, and I do a lot of work with, in the past and now, with a lot of the news stations and stuff, and, you know, they have public service announcements, but I guess where I'm kind of hesitating, like I'm thinking about I could pick up the phone and call one of them and say, hey man, could you guys, you know, pick this up, or you kind of do this, like where it will go out to the public. If you have a child with disabilities or an adult with disabilities or Alzheimer's and stuff, contact this number. But we gotta have that one kind of thing. I mean, that's not to take away from all the others, but if you're gonna push this out to the public, if you don't have just that one thing, we're gonna lose everybody. And everyone's gonna be trying to figure out, okay, I took my kid, I live in Burbank, I took my kid over to Burbank Police Department, got them registered, let them know my kid's got developmental disabilities and I want them to be aware of this and that, but it just seems to me like, yeah, there's so much going on, and if you're gonna have the public, there should be one central place, then we get the news and stuff and they can start pushing that out, but until we get to that one central place, I mean.
That's why I keep going back to the silver alert, because if the person was a person missing, that is who would get involved, is that level. So maybe that's.
Is that at the state level?
At the state level. And it would go across county lines, you know, what if the person went from our county to Santa Barbara County?
Not very hard
right?
to do.
Exactly. So to have some kind of attachment to the silver alert as the one stop for this population, some way of attaching to that.
What do you think some people have been naysayers about, it'd be too much coming in? Silver. 20 silver alerts today, or Like, would the volume be too much? Would people just kind of say, get me away from silver alert?
We have to ask them, we have to get some data from them and some input from them. Because think about how critical it is to know immediately that somebody's missing. But before they were gone, before they get in their car or a bus or someone picks them up, that immediacy matters.
And what does the family do? They're in crisis. What do I do? Who do I call? 911. It's.
Everyone calls 911.
Everyone calls 911.
Then what happens?
Definitely need some guidelines in the families, I think we
Well,
got
what they do now is they post on Facebook, my son is missing and others missing, and, we certainly see in our community a lot, and us too, and people take it kind of into their own hands, like, I'm going to make my own posters, and so.
Neighborhood associations are another way to build out, have like key contacts in the neighborhood, reach out.
I don't think that that one solution, like one thing is going to work. Because so many parents have such strong opinions about things. Well, I'm not going to let Google know my stuff, or Facebook's not, or stuff. So maybe there's a way that you could have, I know about databases, so I'm going to use that as a reference, but you could have several different databases work, because you might be more comfortable with medical alert, you might be more comfortable with such and such. But the databases have to meet certain criteria, which is they have to have the ability to opt into law enforcement if the parents want that, or to silver alert or whatever the one solution is. So a parent could have something like a medical alert bracelet, and that's all I want. I don't want anybody else to know anything. I don't want to be on the internet. So that's good for them. If they change their mind, they can flip the switch, and then it goes to the other agencies in silver alert, or one of the agencies. So there's options. And if somebody is not technical, they can be called by customer service or whatever. We can have that conversation later. But maybe have more than one option.
I think people want to know, really do agree about the layered approach.
Yeah.
So, before we started this task force, right there, a lot of it was based on this idea of what Glendale did, and being able to find maybe a single technological solution that is available countywide or something like that. And obviously not everybody's going to participate. No matter what you do, you're going to get have we moved away from that intent? Are we going to try to neck down to the technology that we would recommend to the board of supervisors that yes, this is what needs to be implemented for the county? I understand the layered approach and so on, but I don't see in here where on the next steps we're going to do like a trade-off with the technology based on criteria. Is that something that's possible?
You think it's possible?
Yeah, I think that's possible. This is actually kind of a simple engineering thing. The problem we're going to have is you're going to have the various vendors fighting, but you can kind of get their inputs and then do an actual trade-off study, right? Without further input. I guess I don't know.
I guess when we
Be
were starting
a
to
small subgroup to be familiar with the technology here and familiar with the drawbacks of that technology, right? And the persons from sheriff's departments would be quite familiar with a lot of it. It would be very valuable.
community for us, people that do that, IT. That was really helpful to begin to look at it. I still went away with that feeling like, depending on what geographic area, what part of the county, that there was problems with all the, there was no one that was going to be like that one.
Well,
But I was told that the supervisor wants one.
well, so again, it's a standard engineering technique. You develop a criteria and you go through this certain criteria that it would eliminate, right? You have to recharge the battery and okay, no, you can't even consider it, right? There has to be a convenience level, there has to be a geographic level, there has to be a cost level, right? If they cost $14,000 a piece, okay, it's not a clinic, right? You can get rid of a whole slew of them right off the bat, and you end up with a set and you evaluate against that criteria. And maybe you'll come up with 8 later, maybe come up with these 3 technologies we ought to look into more. Maybe that's what the supervisor, something along that line.
Because we have apples and oranges, a lot of what we're looking at is slightly different, trying to, think about the technology. There's not like, that are the very same technology. So I find that it's a lot of applicant reviews as far as comparison and pros and cons. Like, well, I can't throw this out because that might be a really good option for someone who can do that.
That's what I was gonna say, I've run 2 bracelet programs in my city. The first one was Project Lifesaver, and the cops hated it, because they couldn't get a signal in Santa Clarita. The second one was a GPS space, and then the company went out of business because the families wouldn't pay $25 a month to keep it hooked up to the GPS. Our city gave them away for free. So it's not like there's a whole bunch of options to choose from, that's the problem, there's very few to choose from, and they all have significant drawbacks.
I would love like a menu that goes out, like ideally, be aware of the alert systems, be aware of, getting registered in a database, be aware that there are devices that you can purchase or, subscribe to. Some may be subsidized by the county, and here they are. Like, that's kind of what I'm sort of imagining. What do you think? I mean, it may be that everybody starts going, wow, this is a really good deal, and there might be more use of certain things on the menu, but, sorry,
Those are all great ideas when people want to use them, and they choose to use them. I think what we need to focus on is having the ability to identify the unidentified. When they don't want to order bracelets, when they haven't registered because their loved one might be scared and not want to, when they've taken off their devices while they're out there, if they're nonverbal and cannot say where they're from, who they are, how are we going to do that? And 2 things come to mind for me for a database. In order for law enforcement to identify these people and know who they're looking for, because when you go in the missing person system, you have the pictures, that there is a searchable database that is put in there when they're reported missing. Like you were saying, if you're a 60-year-old female and pops up the pictures. Nixle is good because it's bulletins, but there's nothing searchable there. A lot of these Facebook, you can't search for these, so if you say, hey, somebody reported a missing female today, I don't remember her name, or let me see if this is her and it matches the name to a picture. We can type it in as first responders. If we see somebody on the street who might think could be missing, an elderly person or a young adult who looks kind of lost, and we want to search and see if they're in there. They're nonverbal, they can't say their name, but we're going to be able to find it that way. If the GPSs are down, we don't need to worry about that. All those technologies are great. What about when they fail? What about when somebody removes them? What about when people can't afford it? This database, they're being put in there either by police when the people are reported missing. The families can choose to do that. You can choose to pre-register those pictures at that time. It's something that you can interact with, not anything that is post after the fact, or something that is uploaded before, but you can actually search it. And maybe something that spits out when they're reported.
I really like that, and it's also like, I know my system better than others, but that's $500 of development, to take an existing database that has pictures, somebody opts in, and then law enforcement can see exactly what I'm saying, show all the pictures of 19-year-olds in the system. And, it's not that expensive to add to an existing system.
And that shouldn't be something that's just limited to county.
Right.
Statewide,
It should be
national,
statewide.
Yeah.
even national, there's buses, there's trains, there's a lot of places to go.
Yeah.
Right now.
We built this in Santa Cruz, it's been going for 10 years. But, and it's just the searchability is one of the features of Hospital 1.
I can tell you what a relief that would be if field deputies were able to do that if they found someone on the street, because there are many times that I myself, recently, I've still gone out there on the street, and midnight, I see the guy on the side of the road. It's midnight, he's an old guy, he has no shoes. He has a jacket, but he's an old man standing there. I know he's out of place, there's no buses running. So I stop, but he doesn't know his name. He just knows that he lives in LA, and I said, well, we're a long way from LA. He's remembered something that happened a while ago, doesn't remember his address. Thankfully, we had to rely on the community, the phone numbers in his pockets. People may not have that. We're able to locate people who live around the corner. His daughter's house was back in the internet. But what if he didn't have these things in his pocket? What if he didn't remember his name? What if he didn't have a bracelet? Anybody knew he was missing that would that would have been in there, could have said 80-year-old males missing, and it could have popped up.
Circle around again to training the public to know that such a database exists and training police to use it. That's, it's a vicious cycle, I can tell you. And keeping the stuff up to date. Half of the 300 people in our database are not up to date. They don't have the right email or contact information.
Well, that's what would be close to the board of supervisors, not providing that,
Yes.
finding the avenues to
And the
provide
board
that.
of
But I
supervisors,
don't know, LMPD, that would be something that would be so refreshing, at a first responder standpoint, to be able to find somebody who normally you could not identify.
Well, and again, to go back to the photograph, to be able to accept. And I often, when I provide training with respect to investigation, and finding cases where the attorney's office, you can tell them to look at face that this person committed this crime, but if you provide them with photographs, now all of a sudden that's a crime. Yes. So the photographs are powerful tool that we certainly, in law enforcement, need to make more use of and make use of, so that our line officers who do come in contact have that information. Those tools.
If you find somebody that has nothing on them, where do they end up?
Either the station or at a hospital.
So if they get along the training thing, if those people where the final place the person is taken to, if they are aware of sort of the database, it's a drag because it goes from here to here to here before they can be found and return to the family, but at least that would be safety net for the hospitals.
Well, usually when hospitals end up with a chain of police, they can identify them if they know that there's something wrong with the person's memory. They have nowhere to call for somebody to come pick them up. They'll immediately call law enforcement and we respond and help that person out as best of our ability. They have social workers who are trained to be in the hospitals to do just that.
And that's another area of training.
I did want to go back to something that Moody had brought up, is I think that Project Lifesaver could be one of the pieces, as far as thinking about technology, reminded us about that. I know that LA Sheriff said that through mutual aid agreements, that they would be willing to help across jurisdictions in finding people that were already registered and had radio frequency bracelets. So that would be a matter of finding, how do we get people registered? Because certainly there's, I think, 3 cities now that will do that at the law enforcement location, including Glendale, including us. But if we wanted to try to grow that, we could save resources for the county by having them be part of the search team, where they would receive maybe 3 or 4 of those search devices. That then when somebody goes missing in San Diego, they can help them out. And so that was something that's thrown out. Any reaction to that? Would that be something that would be considered? I think that's an easy, next, here's something that can be done.
I don't know if there's any benefit to taking stuff away or, saying, let's not do this or that.
We would be asking for money because we would need to get those devices too. They would need to have more devices.
I don't know about anyone in this room. I mean, I go talk to our IT people and my vision doesn't always come out the way I wanted it to because it can't be done the way I'd like it to. But I guess, the Board of Supervisors, they have an IT department. So I hear us all kicking around all these beautiful ideas, and they are beautiful ideas. And I guess I would just like to we can all sit here and hash out different technologies and vet it out, what's doable, what's not, and guess. Can't we get an IT person here or an IT person to look at all of our suggestions and to say, or the board to say, let's contact Google or whatever. I mean, IT departments exist for the board. So can't we get one of those people or borrow one of those people to give us some help here?
We had like a sub-meeting and all the IT experts at the LA Sheriff's, and I I mean, it's still as complicated, because IT for what, you know, like, it's a matter of.
Well, I think we've all kind of, I keep hearing this, I'll keep going back, we need a central database, a clearinghouse of sorts. So, in state, national, whatever. So, this is where, rather than going to the silos of, hey, Sheriff's Department, IT, or coming to DCFS, hey, your IT department. Let's see if the board has one that maybe they can weigh in and kind of help us bring some of this to rest. And they're the governing body, so I would think, you know, they've got a little, rather than going to each silo and seeing what each of us do.
Right, because we have barriers, so we don't see the whole page, so I agree with you, someone that is neutral, we can facilitate our process.
To be more with photos, or is it old school technology?
It is.
Maybe you need a new system.
That's what I would rather spend money getting pictures sent to cop cars than giving people bracelets.
Right, yeah.
Can we get out and upgrade the police technology?
And that's the right track. I think it needs to be, before it's presented, it needs to be narrowed down. It's way too broad, so it covers different areas where different people can offer these services. And I think the basic thing we need to look at is we know what we want it to do. Who needs to have access to this?
Who needs to develop it?
We talked about access.
Law enforcement, we talked about the hospital. We said that the hospital is going to email or text, but there is no picture attached. So sometimes they're releasing someone out of the hospital. So again, this is the low-hanging fruit, and why don't we start?
Is that the regimental
The
technology?
sheriff and the hospitals. That doesn't solve everything, but that's one thing.
Well, I believe in these different places, if every entity here can somehow, with the campaign that we were talking about earlier, gather their resources and make publications where you can give these first responders and hospitals to where, let's say, there's a John or Jane Doe that they're gonna let go. What are the resources that the sheriffs are gonna do when they get there and they've exhausted all resources in order to find this person's family? They can't stay in custody, they're not gonna stay in the time in jail. You know, there needs to be something at the end there that says we need to find a safe place for this person to be, and other people to help on that end too, to help take care of these people, give them resources other than just their basic medical screening that they're gonna get at the hospital, in order to help them find their families. Because where do they end up? Where do
They
they
end up released on the streets.
And that's what we don't want.
And then if there's time like that where somebody had in one place, and like Kirk would eventually find that place because he's a very active searcher.
But then we have the lost and we have the found.
Yes.
So basically, it's first responders, the database, what we want it to do, and who we want to have access to. And then the other half of that, the resources and the aftermath.
I like on the IT thing, if there's like criterion that anybody that has a database has to meet to be part of this program, and that anybody that is law enforcement can access if the family or whatever opts in, then, you know, if these people just pick their favorite one, or the county picks whichever one they like, and then all the information ends up in the right place, because people spend a lot of time.
Well, that's an apple and oranges thing as well, right? So one of the things we're talking about is a county-sponsored program where people with relative technological tracking devices for LAPD or service program access. Another one is a more passive system like critical or find the person and look at the person. So there's very different aspects to it. So one of them is very much county-centric, right? Which is going to require resources. Another one that you're talking about is sort of an opt-in for these other systems. If you want to be included in this, if you want your system included, you have to make it.
Yeah, and you have to give people the option for it to show up in their database.
But there's no regulator for that. I mean, right?
Well,
If I invented a new company tomorrow and said, no, this is my wearable technology, so I'm signing for that, I mean, Detective Soda's not going to throw me in jail because I didn't have an opt-in option for the research.
But if you say we met the criteria for county and we met the criteria
statewide, that's a selling point for them. They have the city logo or the county logo saying that we back you because you have those basic criteria. So
like the stamp of approval, right? So I'm gonna need to move us, because we're running low, and I wanted to hit training next. So we've been integrating these bits, so I should go faster. But is that okay?
I just want to add one thing.
Yes.
LA County has a SNAP registry. You can register people with disabilities in case of a disaster, so the sheriffs can go find them. What if we adapted our existing SNAP registry to be a proactive registry where you can register your person and then we all go to the SNAP registry if someone was missing? That's an existing registry, and then you have to ask whoever created it and what policy you need to change to use that in our database. And
Yeah, I think they're leveraging something that's already
listed. Who here knew about SNAP before?
I know a different kind of snap.
Yeah.
SNAP.
Yes, it's a free registry in the county of Los Angeles. You are on oxygen and we have an earthquake, but the cops can go find you.
We had an emergency management department with the fire department who worked on a program in the last 3 years, but it sounded like they dropped because no one was registered.
Oh, I wonder if that's it.
So we
Because
can,
it was with senior housing, Department of Disability, and we spent close
is
to
that
$1
SNAP
million.
you're talking about?
Is that?
Is it SNAP you're talking about?
I believe, yeah.
Okay.
That's a
We need to know that, right? Because whatever we're planning, if SNAP failed because people didn't know about it, people didn't use it, we have to.
We have to revisit the San Diego project. If you recall, there was they had 3,000 people that were registered.
Yeah, they have the Take Me Home program,
They're taking it
which
away.
I love.
Right. So,
Well, I mean,
Okay.
in LA County, we have probably 4,000 already.
The Office of Emergency Management came up around training as well, because I guess, maybe I'm looking at law enforcement, but I guess you get together and do training on a quarterly basis across different law enforcement entities, is that right? Is that what it is? So I heard that.
Yes.
And I had learned from Emily and from Kate, the importance of some experiential kind of training, some hands-on or eyes-on kind of experiences that you can have. And so I was just thinking that trying to get into the location, maybe once a year, where this topic gets brought in for the training. So training was interesting. I have considered routine use of that. That the content of the critical incident training that's mandated, a 40-hour training that's mandated, that people wondered what's in there. Is it the best? Does it cover everything that we want them to cover, like empathy and de-escalation and some of the content that was shared in the work group? The Milo, right? The Milo simulator. What does that exercise look like? You've probably seen that,
We're
right?
doing it on Wednesday. We're going to be having 3 weeks of Milo and autism training, 6 hours down in the street.
So will you come back and tell us? Come back and tell us?
We've been doing it for.
So is there a particular scenario for dementia? Were they running to someone?
Gannon would know, Lieutenant Gannon would know, because he runs the Milo portion. There's certainly a number of Milo. Have you done Milo?
What is Milo?
It's the virtual reality training that's done, simulations of scenarios, so that you walk into a room and it's sort of like the Wizard of Oz. You have these walls that go around you, and it's actual film, and you're interacting with someone who's yelling at you, let's say, with a knife. There's a guy in the back who's running this training, and based upon your responses and your attempts at de-escalation or your failure to de-escalate, the person facing you, who is an actor, but on screen, will be edited to do various different things. Either they would de-escalate, or they'll go towards you, and you have to drop them. So I've done it. I'm not in law enforcement myself, I have to say. It's really sobering to see how quickly things go. So that's the first half of the training for the deputies, and the second half is the autism training, which involves putting them through which is also what you do, putting them through experiences of feeling what it might feel like to have autism, and also interacting with people with a very wide range of autism.
We have ages and most of
Yeah, and people with Asperger's, people with extremely severe autism.
the whole range.
Yeah, I think it would be really helpful to also bring this training into, which we're talking about that three-tiered approach. Ellie, maybe you share us the hospitals, like what are the most important settings? And I think in those hospital settings, it would be important to have this training as well. What do I do with a nonverbal patient? How do I handle this?
And you think the content is thorough, like does it include someone with Alzheimer's that's 85?
Right, oh, is it currently thorough?
I mean, is that something we consider? Is that maybe
Yeah.
could we?
I think we should include that as well. I mean, I think there is so much talk about this, and I don't want to visit it, but there is a lot of crossover between the autistic population and the Alzheimer's population.
And LA, they routinely train on autism and Alzheimer's hour each in the CIT training on a regular basis.
Force training teacher. So thousands so far.
We trained 1,400.
1,400 CHP? Okay. So, with training, I feel like because there is a law to mandate people to have training, I think that's a great start, right? We wonder if there's anything we can do to help content. We have content experts here, Alzheimer's and long-term care. So I'm just thinking if there's anything we need to recommend in the training area.
Well, I think perhaps having specific trainings for wandering in Alzheimer's and autism. So now, we do have training in awareness, interaction, empathy, and so forth. But what do we do in specific scenarios for wandering?
And critical listening, what should be,
Yeah.
because it's not always that they wander, sometimes they leave.
Well, that's really what they do. They leave.
No, really.
Yeah.
Well, so if we wanted to shore up the training and change the content, how did that happen? How do we do it?
I think certain criteria as far as the state mandated things like the critical incident, that's all, I believe, governed by post. And they're the ones who make the training. Some of it's offered online in a manner of videos. So there's some of them have certain scenarios, kind of like your, I'm sorry, what was the acronym? Milo training, kind of in the same way, but it's on a computer basis, not person to person, with decision making, critical decision making, and scoring, and then evaluation at the end, kind of thing. So I know post, if they're going to be mandating things, they're also going to govern over the training.
I participated in the creation of the post video for elder abuse, the update, and that was, they had to redo it because there was a change in law. And it was a legislative bill that came through.
What was the day?
There was a change in law, I can't remember who the legislator was, I can look back and let you know. But it had something, I can't remember all of it, but they had to do all of the post training because of that, and so they brought together several of us from across the state.
So legislation on day, how many hours, and the time?
Yeah, exactly. Well, a few years ago, we got a law passed that training on autism had to be created by post and made available for free to every agency in the state. But the law didn't say that anyone had to watch it, and so they didn't.
I'd like to see. I'd like to see mandatory police interaction, like an officer maybe 3 hours a year or something goes to a special ed class and just sits there and observes and sees how behaviors work with people with autism or Down syndrome or whatever. So then they will get to kind of know, okay, this is a person that, so when they see somebody, they go, oh, that looks like somebody that I've seen that has autism. This is kind of how the person talked to them. This is a human being. It's not maybe somebody on drugs. And it can, also the other side of that is the people with disabilities. get used to seeing the policemen in their natural environment, and get used to seeing them as friends. And then if they see them on the street, they go, "Oh, there's my friend, the policeman," and they go over and they ask for help.
That's why I created the same program to create relationships between people with disabilities and the police. But ours is centered around learning from each other and around safety skills, following instructions from the police, doing what they tell you to do, not touching their stuff, staying where you are when you meet the police. So,
But when we get to that nonverbal, more critical area, like my son who went missing and was found naked in a major intersection, brought to a hospital, all the stuff we're talking about. And, you know, thank God it ended up okay. How do we train our first responders in that kind of stuff? How do we train our hospital workers or social workers in that stuff? Because there's a big difference between someone who's elderly, who's found missing, I think, and someone who's robust and strong and stark naked running down the middle of the tube. You know, there's a difference just in the first initial contact and the assumptions we're going to make about that person.
There's so many assumptions.
So I will say there's early onset Alzheimer's.
That's
in their 30s, 40s,
Of course.
and so it's not always someone.
Right.
Obvious.
Or obvious.
That's right.
So really, I think that there's so much to learn, and I just wonder about the content. Now we have mandatory training, and I just wonder if it's the content that we So I'm going to kind of, we're in the very last rows of the meeting, and I want to be sure we talk about community outreach and have time for public comment. So we've got a lot to do in 7 minutes.
Before you go in there, one of the things that we brought up is training for corporate and law enforcement and professionals. Just a few minutes ago, the issue of long-term care and people leaving long-term care facilities, individuals leaving home. We talk also about prevention, right? Some sort of education and training,
Community outreach, a lot of prevention needed.
that right there.
But you think training for the public?
Yeah.
It's not, yeah.
Building on that, people who run group homes and garden cares, they have to have a license. So maybe it can be part of the licensing process.
He never gets it.
Attach it to getting your license, that you would have to have training on what to do with the person's opinion, what to say. This is a critical missing, and, you know, maybe having a registered firm ready to go, or, you know,
That's a system that's already in place that people are like, thinking that, it's really boring, and it's the same thing, just did, but we're training.
What I'd also like to see, we have a great relationship with the social workers, hospitals, major hospitals. We don't ever hear from adolescents and facilities in the event that they're brought individuals that perhaps not be identified.
A lot of them are privately owned, and I kind of wonder if they've got state guidelines on what kind of training their facilities have to have and maintain. You know, if they're state run, state funded, but if they're privately owned, does it still pertain to them?
They might have to have a
If they're
license.
privately owned, they're not taking any of this, because somebody has to pay for them. So,
So most of them are privately owned, but they're funded for reasons. They have to have a license, they have to have a license. There are requirements.
Yeah, I think the license through community care licensing, and so the thing to do would be to find out what is the type of training that community care licensing either requires or provides around this issue in order to become licensed.
Okay, yeah, I think we should add that.
But size and all that plays a role in becoming licensed.
But I think they're kind of already aware of the rules, because our experience been, for people we have under conservatorship, the second one of our conservatees goes missing, they required to call the police, they're required to already follow a certain protocol, and then they notify us that the client's gone from the facility. So there is something in place already, because universally.
So check the content of it, because maybe they're not using the word critical missing,
Maybe.
right? So,
And maybe, yes, some enhancements which we can suggest.
I can take a piece of it.
Okay. All right, so we have kind of a training to do, and then I wanted to touch base on community outreach. And so what I have so far is that we want to, if leverage existing outreach events. So there's a lot of things that take place already. Special walks, disease specific, there's health fairs. All of you are involved in a lot of different events. So we thought, be sure that we're leveraging those. There's campaigns or initiatives in the county. I know purposeful aging, and then I was also told recently about Whole Person Initiative, something like that. It's something that's really focused on the homeless population. Are you guys involved in that? Okay. So maybe there's something where we can make sure this is a part of some of that. Does that make sense? That was my thinking, just leveraging. The second was develop, I heard from the work group, develop a campaign for responding to at-risk missing persons. So what would the you were part of this group. What would that campaign look like? What was that?
The idea was to, I think the main idea was to actually hire a firm to put this all together. But I think the other idea too, that if there is this central agency that's, put together to coordinate all these activities, that would be one of the functions of that particular agency.
Because we know we can get proclamations for special days and things like that. I don't know how much that would help, or maybe we had other sort of things ready to go, like, ooh, here's our materials ready.
Was the world of developmental disabilities is often so separate from, and all the activities therein, the culture from, the culture of Alzheimer's and dementia, and, the autism walk, it's not, no one's going to think at that walk to marry the two, or what they have in common. So I think if we did have something totally on its own, including, a walk, an event, and a day.
You know what I was just thinking about? Remember the mailboxes?
Yeah.
I don't know, something, it was powerful.
Yeah.
Something that you see in mind, right?
Yeah. No part kids.
But you're right,
We talked
professional.
about it last week, that's very low hanging fruit that, we could write a suggested motion that goes to the board next
Yeah.
week, or wandering game.
I think it would be a great start, and as you say, low-hanging fruit, and maybe a lot of stuff would coalesce around.
Yeah, having something to get ready for.
Bingo,
That always helps
deadline.
organize. And LA Metro, I understand, has had like a campaign or a way of dealing with human trafficking, using posters in their vehicles and things, right? So the thought was maybe there was something similar that we could parallel to this initiative, that would utilize some of the same outreach methods, right?
Our color scheme could be silver.
And I'm glad you're into the silver, or being, the full gamut of age. Exactly. So silver's inclusive, right? I'm not gold, but, okay, so some kind of maybe LA Metro campaign, or I know buses have, things on them as well. That's Metro ones too. Yeah. So all those kind of billboards, the Grove and places like that have places where you can put stuff on those.
And the two pieces of that, I think, would be, educating the public about what missing person might look like, random person in communities. Just to put that on their back burners, put it on the radar. If you see somebody, if you see a teenager running in club, I keep doing this every day, I keep illustrating it like this, that's my son. But, somebody, it just doesn't look quite right. What do I do? And then two, I'm someone who has a loved one who might go missing. What do I do? What steps can I take to prepare to keep them safe? So there's sort of two branches of outreach, I think, to audiences.
And those resources are put in the pamphlets and publications like that. I'm sure you can share them with these. And then they come upon this board with their homes or citizens who have family members that be an issue and they're afraid this person's going to miss them. Right. That they can give these resources to find out. And that might bridge the gap between registration and all that other good technology that's there for preventive before they become an unidentifiable person.
Because they'll often be the same house and the same street where the bedroom calls and the same person going missing and the family's overwhelmed and exhausted. So what do they start?
I think the PR firm TV stuff is really important. Because we'll do all kinds of Facebook things and we'll get X dollars for donations or whatever, but we get on one crappy little TV show that's like just mentioned and we'll get like thousands of dollars coming from just people that aren't in our community.
Well, you can like, yeah, PSAs with, celebrities, there are a couple of celebrities that use those.
Whose kids watch, just trying to elderly
Anyway.
parent.
Yeah, no, I think we could.
Yeah, and then don't TV stations, they used to be required to do a certain amount of public service.
Our last meeting, we had one of them with us. They did some recording of our meeting.
That was KCET, public health, they're doing a program.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I was gonna say we had. Okay, so I'm gonna, we have these ideas, we'll make sure we emphasize and consolidate with this in mind. And is there any public comment, people that didn't get, they really want to get in?
Actually, to follow up on Emily's comment, I
Yes.
looked up the SNAP thing. It got rolled up into something called Alert LA County.
Oh,
But it's a system where the county actually calls folks with landlines that are connected to 911 in the event of a disaster. But if there's some way to tap into that, I don't know. It's on the county website.
The sheriff's done a missive about that in 2011 and shared that with us in the very beginning. I registered. So Alert LA County.
Let's see what that technology is and if we can adapt it.
The thing is, it's not getting used for these kinds of.
Exactly. Because I didn't design it that way, so what if we can integrate?
Yeah, exactly. So any other comments?
We're looking at the registry concept, having other places where people can register, like the pediatrician's office, the geriatrician's office, those kinds of places where it's not.
Well, regional centers where it's going out,
Right.
time of diagnosis.
Those kinds of places, I mean, they'll ask you, like, pediatrician, a whole slew of questions, and so why would, is your kid registered or, if you have X, Y, and Z, or your loved one has dementia.
Yeah, so pediatricians and neurologists would be really good.
Yes.
And there's
Developmental pediatrics.
there's different considerations with that.
Yes, and I think there needs to be more training, because I think there's a whole lot of people who don't really quite know what HIPAA is, and they just say, oh, we can't do that for HIPAA.
And sometimes that might be true,
And sometimes it's no. So add it to the training.
even if they just ask the question, they ask you if you're done in the house, it's locked, they ask these questions. So why wouldn't they, and then it makes the parent hopefully think, and then something gets checked that the doctor wants to follow up with.
I think there'd have to be two aspects to it. Like we have like a public part of our registry and then a confidential part. And so if you're doing through the medical thing, anything that's like on their servers would have to be covered by HIPAA, but they.
Oh, it wouldn't be under, that's not what she's suggesting, she's suggesting that the neurologist said, okay, you're having a problem with this. So you might consider going to Register LA and getting on their database.
It's like a referral.
Yes.
Yeah, because then that wouldn't be.
Right. So I need to formally close the meeting. You've been so attentive and so engaged. I'm really excited. We'll begin to kind of get this in a more workable way that you can now start to, at the next meeting, do we know the next meeting? Is it October 4th is our next meeting. Yeah, all right. 1 to 3. So that'll give us some time to gather a little more data, so we may be in touch with some of you. Anything from the DA's office you feel like got missed?
No, stuff I was thinking about got said.
All right.
I made good point, yeah.
Check.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys, you worked hard today, thank you so much.